All right, guys, we are getting this party started. So, over the course of the next couple of hours, we're going to be speaking to our founder, starting with Kabeer. Please feel free to ask questions. It's early in the morning in India, and so we will be playing this recording later in the day as well. So if you do miss anything, don't worry, we're here. With that being said, welcome to our Investor Day, Kabeer, and thank you so much for being here so early, even though you're not actually here and you're in Bangalore.
Plus, it's not very early.
Oh, well, it's for venture capitalists, it's early. Okay, just a reminder, we are live, Kabeer, and so let's just be careful.
Sure.
Our investors are here as well, and so we just want to be mindful as much as possible. Kabeer, talk to us about the scale and size of Dunzo.
No, I think we caught about a year back. I think since then we have grown about to 2.5x. I think today Dunzo's the what you call, and I think in the last 12 months time there's been a lot of movement that's happened in the space and in the category, and I think there's been a lot of understanding of really what quick commerce would look like globally. And thank you for whoever has coined that name. But what it does is it goes ahead and establishes it as pretty much what comes next in on demand. I think post ride sharing and food delivery. I think grocery delivery or consumables delivery was always what was going to come next, but I think the model for it has gotten a lot more clear over the last 12 months time. So today we're anywhere from about 200 to $50 million of annual GMV, growing at close to about 25-30% month on month. Our warehouse business is really starting to scale in multiple parts of the country. No, I think by the time we meet next time this year, the goal is to be number one in 10 cities in the country and have close to about 200 mini warehouses that function like India's premier convenience store.
And last year we were here at the same time, and we were talking about how we weren't even mentioning the word quick commerce in that sense, or the term that's been coined now, but we were watching how much was happening globally in this space. And we were discussing how there wasn't too much going on as far as other people doing quick commerce in the way that it's being happening right now. 1 year later, and it seems like my mom wants your business plan so she can start a quick commerce company somewhere in this country. What happened in 1 year? Where do we go, and how is this landscape different? And feel free to mention my mom.
So I think there's a little bit of consensus on how the model makes sense. What exactly will work for the customer proposition? What will work from a supply chain perspective? What really goes ahead and improves your NPS and retention scores high enough for it to go ahead and result in what you call great LTV? And I think that consensus is really, and let's be honest, there are only so many really large B2C white spaces that exist in the country and globally, right? And actually, once you go ahead and get a little bit of a sense of consensus on what the model seems to work, you go ahead and see a lot of capital start pouring in, and a lot of people starting to replicate what might have been done patiently over the last 2.5, 3 years time. Honestly, as what you call having created a bunch of this category in this country, the goal is to say that, hey, we continue to be market leaders in 2 years time when the category settles, but for the category it will be a little bit like a gold rush for the next 2 years time, like it happened on food delivery as well as it happened on ride sharing. But yeah, I think now that the model makes a bunch of sense, the good thing really is that we have innovated through being able to test everything in terms of what works, what doesn't work. And I think built a DNA around what you call constantly questioning what is better for the consumer and the business. That really is at the core of being able to say as to how do we retain market leadership from now to 24 months later.
So that's interesting. I think what happens a lot of times is that we're reading in the media, this company's doing this company's doing that, and they kind of lump all the companies together. But actually, They're very different kinds of companies and very different kinds of models, all lumped into the idea of quick commerce. So you got 30-minute delivery, you got 45-minute delivery, you got 5-minute delivery, you got 10-minute delivery. You're delivering perishable products, you're delivering fresh products, you're delivering non-perishable products, you're delivering FMCG products. I'm not talking about Dunzo specifically. I'm talking about all the different things. How are you thinking about what Dunzo is doing today based on all the experiments and experience that you've had doing many different things in the past, and what's going to be the core or the future of delivery in this fashion in India, you think?
So I think if you realize this is the only category in which what people consume is not in the name of the category. Look, think in hindsight, it's not ride sharing, it's not food delivery, it's quick commerce. Like it comes quickly,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's largely because global consumption patterns for what people want delivered instantly are different. In fact, even in India, we believe that the number one thing that we will invest on, other than for the fact that we'll create the infrastructure for the what you call items to get delivered to customers within 15 to 20 minutes time, is actually what our assortment strategy will look like. Because that we believe is really the eight ball of this business. If you can, like most retail businesses, what you go ahead and stock, what you don't stock is often more important than what you stock, right? And that choice needs to be made literally on a daily, weekly, seasonal, and area-specific level. And I think that's really what's going to play out in this category too, in terms of winners. What you will end up noticing is people who go ahead and emerge as 1 and 2 will go ahead and have an assortment strategy that is very focused regarding the information that is being generated by consumption patterns by customers, rather than trying to replicate what might be working globally or what might be working even for competitors, because that's not a defensible strategy in the long run. I think there are multiple formats that could potentially play out on this category. What exactly is this, right? This is the digitization of people's convenience store needs. And convenience stores in the offline world exist in different brands and different categories. You end up seeing somebody who's very heavy on convenience grocery, somebody who might be very heavy on private label, somebody who might create like a milk-based brand, somebody who might create a fresh fruits and vegetables, meat kind of brand in the real world, right? When you walk out to markets, and we potentially believe that that's really what will end up playing out in this category too, where there will be multiple brands, given the forcing function of how dense we all need to get. And so what we are doing is we believe that the whole idea of just being quick is relevant to a very early adopter audience of what you call maybe a couple of million customers in the country, who care about the difference between a 9-minute delivery and an 11-minute delivery. I think we have gone ahead and scaled our business large enough to know that is actually not what goes ahead and tips over the urban middle income housewife. Or household rather, right? And that is the largest TAM that we all should be chasing. Over there, I think what you're competing against is their organic behavior of, say, for 30-45 minute what you call deliveries. That's the usual offline experience of calling a local store or going yourself and getting something delivered. We actually believe that anywhere in the 15 to 20 minute range tends to work really well for them. And we have done enough work on our retention curves to know that seems to be the sweet spot. The second thing that we do believe is our selection strategy needs to be very in tune with what this customer buys maybe 3 times a week. It's not about the people who go ahead and smoke cigarettes. It's not about the people who go ahead and party 3 times a week. It's the urban middle income household that most likely ends up buying fresh 3 times a week. And so a lot of our assortment strategy is what you call focused on that. And we have seen great results because of that. The frequency numbers tend to be what you call significantly higher. We are going ahead and seeing much higher retention because that's really what's at the center of our flywheel. What we have done is we have tried to figure out what is the best and the most optimal supply chain for fresh to get delivered directly from farmers to these customers who tend to buy this 3 times a week either ways.
And so what we're looking at is you've gone through this journey of pick up and drop to a marketplace working with kiranas to having a vertically integrated business that sells a limited number of SKUs, a majority of which, and correct me at one point where I'm going wrong here, are fresh produce. And that fresh produce is helping you get stickier customers that are also spending a lot more money per order with you because they're not able to conveniently get what you're providing on a regular basis versus perhaps some of the other products and SKUs that are out there, like, should I say, cigarettes?
Possibly, right. I think it's also got to do with what TAM do you want to be able to attack with your brand, right? Our TAM that we want to be able to define is close to about 60 odd million customers who spend about $100 billion on this category. And that actually comes from what assortment strategy we take. Just because we put a warehouse doesn't mean that, our TAM goes up. Because if you don't stock the items that these customers are buying that frequently, your TAM will continue to be, like a tinier TAM which goes ahead and buys a specific set of SKUs.
So fresh produce has the largest TAM?
Yes, is our estimate at this point.
And those people could very easily want other stuff, and it's easy enough to deliver that stuff to them. But vice versa seems to be more complicated because the supply chain of fresh, it just sounds like it's much more complicated than the supply chain of non-perishables.
Yes, and the other part on that really is the buying behavior is a lot more focused, what you call around the weekly behavior. When you go ahead and buy staples, etc., those are things that you could end up buying once a month, and so that's then starting to compete with people's monthly buying behavior. The weekly buying behavior is different. The weekly buying behavior is centered around 2 or 3 really large occasions. It is based around how people cook. It's based around how people party, and it's based around what you call more habitual things like cigarettes, etc., etc. Because those are the things that people end up doing weekly and what you call want to be able to go ahead and manage those problems instantly. In that, we believe that the fresh one is the one that we have seen the most amount of benefits out of. When we go ahead and broad base our TAM. The couple of million customers in the country, they will end up using services because they're really quick. And of course, they will go ahead and create a job to be done for you. But I think the job to be done for a 60 million TAM is different than what it is for the top 2 million, what you call customers in the country. And I think that learning for us has been very valuable. I think the 2 big learnings that we have had is selling stuff to people is much more valuable than shipping stuff for people. That was the large change that happened first. And the second one is when you're selling stuff to people for the most, what you call high frequency items, you need to have a first party model or a managed marketplace rather than just a marketplace. Actually, those are the 2 large learnings that have gone ahead and changed strategy over the last 2-3 years.
Actually, that's, I think I don't like complimenting you, but that was really well said. I really like that. I don't think you've said that to me before. Also, I think you're stuck. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, I think.
Oh, I was complimenting you. The one time I was complimenting you, you couldn't hear me.
I heard that.
Oh, you did hear the compliment. You're welcome. You're welcome. We have just a couple of seconds left, but where is Dunzo going to be 18 or 24 months from now? Where do you see, what are the metrics you're looking at, and what do you see happening?
This is now a business that's found crazy product market fit. And so this is about now rapidly scaling. This is going to be 24 months of rapidly deploying this playbook that we have created in every geography and a city, and taking it to about 25 cities in the country. We expect to grow our overall size of business by close to about 10 to 12x over the next 2 years' time, potentially getting into about $2.5 billion of GMV run rate by December 23. But yeah, for the next 2 years' time, doubly focused to create India's convenience store, and we'll look at other adjacencies.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for being with us so early in the morning, Kabeer. All righty.
Thank you so much.
Take care, and we're off.